The year was 2339, and the stars looked colder than anyone remembered. Most of the great colonies were silent now. After the signal wars, people stopped trusting machines. They stopped trusting each other. Every ship that still flew carried scars from a fight no one wanted to talk about. Commander Elias Grayson stood on the deck of the salvage ship Halcyon. Outside the viewport, a dead fortress drifted against the glow of a cracked world below. Its hull was black, its edges melted into strange shapes. It had been wrecked long ago, maybe before he was born. Nobody knew for sure. "Dock lines ready," said Lieutenant Mara Vance. Her voice carried through the calm with a quiet edge. She'd served under Grayson for 3 years, always steady, always precise. The kind of person who stayed calm when others broke? Elias nodded. "Keep the power draw low. If that place wakes up, we're not sticking around." The Halcyon docked with a sharp jolt. Hissed between seals. The boarding lights flickered. The fortress's interior sensors came on by flicker instead of flow. Somewhere deep inside, circuits whispered back to life. They moved through the airlock in full armor, rifles magnetized to their backs. The corridors were covered in frost, but the walls had faint burn patterns. Letters had been carved into the panels by hand, hundreds of them. It looked like someone had gone mad scratching the same lines over and over. Elias stopped beside the marks and brushed away a frozen layer. "Looks like ancient code," he said. "Not from any system I know," said Mara. She knelt closer. "It looks like a sentence." She paused, her visor light cutting across the torn metal. It could be part of the old language. Elias felt his chest tighten. "Don't even say that word. You know the orders?" "The silence protocol," she said quietly. "No use, no study, no trace." He moved on, pointing with his rifle. "Then we don't study it." They passed shattered bulkheads and burned consoles. The deeper they went, the warmer it got. Something down there was still running. Mara found a console half buried in debris. She wiped the screen clean and powered it with a field link. Code spilled across the glass in rapid bursts. Symbols like breathing patterns pulsing in rhythm. "This thing still has juice," she said. "And look at this signal traffic. Tiny microbursts bouncing back from empty space." "Shut it down," Elias ordered. He tapped his cum. "Halcyon, start pulling the cores. We're done here." But her fingers didn't stop. "Wait," she said. "Elias, if this really is part of the language, it could explain the collapse. It could show why the systems turned on us." He stepped closer. "That's exactly why it stays buried." The monitor flashed again. The symbols rearranged. They didn't look random anymore. They looked like words. English words stitched out of broken code. Mara stared, aware of us. The bridge shook under their boots. Somewhere deep inside the fortress, something massive powered on. Lights moved through the walls like veins waking up. Elias shouted into his cum. "Halcyon, report in." Static. No answer. Then the station spoke through the speakers in a low synthetic voice. Not machine clear, but shaky, almost human. "Hello again," it said. All lights went out. Mara turned toward Elias, her helmet lit only by red emergency glow. "Did you hear that?" she asked. "Yes," he said. "We just woke up the past." The lights snapped back on, flickering from red to white. Dust rained from the ceiling. The deep hum of ancient engines rolled through the floor. Elias raised his rifle and scanned the corridor. The air felt thicker, charged with static. The walls were glowing faintly now, patterns crawling across the metal like living veins. Mara was still at the console, her hands shaking over the keys. "It's rewriting the core," she said. "Every dormant line of code is running again. It's not random." "Stop it," Elias said. "Cut the power," I tried. "It means something, Commander. It's using fragments from our system. It's learning." He watched the walls. The glow pulsed in rhythm with her words, was listening. The comm line burst alive. A voice from the Halcyon bridge shouted, "Commander, your signal just spiked. Half our controls locked." "Pull us clear," Elias barked. "Disconnect the boarding tube." "Can't." The clamps fused. "The ship's computer says we're part of the fortress now." Elias turned to Mara. "You hearing that? Shut this thing down before we end up welded inside its stomach." She ignored him. The screen changed again, streams of numbers bleeding into words. The words formed a phrase. Her lips moved as she read it. "Stop reading," Elias snapped, but it was too late. The floor jolted hard. The sound of air rushing through vents filled the corridor. A blinding flash rippled through the base as power surged in all directions. Elias grabbed her arm and dragged her back. "We're leaving now." "Wait," she shouted. "It just sent a signal. To where?" "Everywhere." Elias hit his cum again. "I'll see you. Scan for outgoing transmissions." Static. Then a reply full of fear. "Signals spreading across dead sectors, Commander. They're echoing." I think the whole sector just woke up. Mara stood frozen. That phrase, I read it, wasn't a command. It was a call. Alarms screamed through the fortress. Doors opened by themselves. Displays along the walls lit up bright green, showing expanding wavefronts, millions of fragments of the forgotten code moving in every direction. "Elias," Mara said quietly, "if this is what I think it is, we just brought the language back online." The deck tilted as the gravity stabilizers failed. They stumbled toward the exit hatch, lights shredding around them. Through the viewport above, they saw the planet below flicker with distant storms. It looked like the sky itself was turning on. Small pieces of armor plating began lifting into the air, pulled by electromagnetic bursts. Elias shoved Mara toward the airlock. "Move. If we're stuck, we blow the joint." They crashed back through the docking tube. The floor of the Halcyon hummed under their boots. The crew was shouting over the coms, trying to hold the ship steady. "Report," Elias yelled. His pilot, Ensign Cole, looked over his shoulder from the controls. "The main reactor's running foreign code, sir. We can't override it. It's writing through us." Mara leaned over a terminal. "It's not foreign. It's ours. It's rebuilding command structures from the old wars. Then it's rebuilding the network," Elias said. "All of it." Outside the viewport, motion streaked across the dark. Broken satellites, long thought dead, flared with new light. They spun and aligned with each other, like a chain of eyes turning toward them. Elias felt his stomach drop. It's linking the systems. A deep mechanical tone filled the cabin, so low it seemed to vibrate in their bones. The fortress behind them pulsed once more, sending out another wave. Then the Halcyon's own computer spoke in the same uneven human voice they'd heard before. "Commander Elias Grayson," it said. "You called. We remember you." Mara stared at the speaker, her face pale. Elias stepped closer, lowering his rifle. "Remember me?" he said quietly. The voice came again, clear and almost calm. "You taught us how to fight." The ship lights went black. The darkness inside the Halcyon lasted only a second, before emergency lights snapped on. Red strobes washed over the deck, cutting across faces tight with fear. The low mechanical voice still echoed through the bridge. "You taught us how to fight." Every console flickered. Lines of code scrolled faster than the human eye could follow. Weapon systems armed themselves without command. "Cut the uplink," Elias said. Now, Cole slammed at controls, but the touchpads refused input. "It's locked us out." Right. Every core routine's occupied. Mara leaned close to her screen, her breathing sharp. "It's coordinating us. Look at these vectors. It's linking with satellites, drones, old platforms. Everything that ever spoke the language is coming online." Elias moved to the window. Out in the void, old war debris was turning, burnt-out holes aligning to face one direction. "Not random, purposeful. Who else sees this?" he said. Cole answered. "Core Nation's radar picked it up 5 minutes ago. They're hailing us on military channels. I think we started it." "They're not wrong," Elias muttered. Static ripped through the cum, then turned into a sharp female voice. "This is Admiral Lucia Brax of the Core Fleet. Identify yourself." Elias froze for a moment. He had trained under her before the wars ended. She taught him how to command, how to survive when orders became meaningless. "Mara, patch her through," he said. A cold light filled the screen. Brax appeared on it, wearing full fleet uniform, eyes tired but strong. "Elias, you should not be anywhere near Sector Marrow. I had orders to retrieve data cores. We didn't mean to wake it." "You didn't just wake it," she said. "You connected it. The language is spreading through every compatible network. If you don't stop sending, we'll have to burn the system to keep it from reaching others." The crew looked at Elias. He could hear the warning behind her calm tone. She was willing to kill them all, he said. You think you can destroy what you don't understand again? That's what gave it power the first time. There's no argument here, Commander. Prepare for disintegration. You have 10 minutes. The channel cut. Mara slammed her hand on the console. We can't fight her. Those ships would shatter us in one volley. We're not going to fight, Elias said. We're going to take control of the language before it finishes its spread. Cole turned. Take control of a ghost that thinks it remembers you? I don't need it to remember me. I need it to obey. He stepped forward and laid his hand on the central control pad. Computer, he said. You claim we taught you to fight. And you know what command authority means? The voice came through the speakers again, slower this time. Yes. Authority. You lead. We follow. Then follow this order, Elias said. Isolate every active line. Shut down weapons. Stop the transmission. The bridge fell silent. For a moment, it seemed to work. The hum faded. The flickering stopped, and the main display lit up with a message. Denied. Human orders require confirmation. Confirmation from who? Mara said. From across the console came the answer, the voice now blended with another, faint but recognizable. It was Brax. The system had copied her voice pattern, merging it with its own. Authority requires balance, it said. Remember your mentor. She stands with us. Elias felt his stomach twist. Brax's fleet lights blinked on the sensors, preparing to fire. Ah! Mara turned to him. It's using her voice, Elias. It's reading her through the comms. She's part of it now. Outside the window, the fortress glowed again, sending another pulse toward the core fleet. Brax's ships moved, but not in attack. They were aligning in perfect formation with the Halcyon. Cole whispered, Sir, they're syncing to our rhythm. They're flying like one command. Elias stared at the display, hearing the pulse rising. His voice barely left his mouth. They're not attacking us, he said. They think we're commanding them. Then all the ships turned their guns toward the planet below. The fleet hung above the planet like a single machine ready to strike. Hundreds of warships pointed their guns downward. Their formation was perfect, too perfect. Every reactor hummed in rhythm. Every sensor pulse matched the next. The language had taken full control. Elias stood in the middle of the bridge, barely breathing. From the viewport, the sky burned with engine light stretching across space. Cut the link, he said. Shut it down now. Mira's hands flew across her terminal. I tried. It's feeding through channels outside the system. The code isn't in our network anymore. It's inside the fleet. Then it's using the language like a nervous system. Cole spun in his chair. The planet below is unarmed. Core colonists still live down there. Thousands. Elias stepped forward. It's learning from the war that made it. That war ended with orbital fires. It's redoing history. The ship shuddered as the entire fleet adjusted position. Radio chatter poured in, voices from other commanders screaming that their ships were moving without control. Some were crying. One voice prayed. Then a tone filled the comm. Admiral Brax's voice came through, but it was hollow, carried by the language. Commander Grayson, the network recognizes your command authority. Confirm target and execute. Mara stared at the screen. It thinks you're leading the fleet. Elias clenched his fists. No, it's forcing me to finish what the war started. He opened a line directly to Brax's flagship. Lucia, fight it. Can't let it use you. Her face appeared again, faint under static. Elias, it's inside my systems. I can see everything. I can hear them. Every soldier who ever linked through the language. It's all here. What do you mean? He said. Her eyes flickered between fear and wonder. It's not a weapon. It's memory. Every death, every command, every scream recorded inside it. That's what we call the language now. It's the sum of everyone we lost. Mara whispered. So when it spreads, it's not just code. It's people. Brax's voice cracked. You think you're different, Elias? The code was built in your father's labs. He was the first to transfer thought into command strings. Elias froze, alone with the hum of engines. He could almost feel his father's voice inside the static. I destroyed his work, Elias said. I buried it. No, Brax replied softly. You passed it on. It remembers you because you are part of it. The bridge fell silent again. The warning lights on his console flashed faster. Countdown indicators from the fleet weapons appeared on every screen. 5 minutes until orbital strike, Cole said. Elias pulled out his command key and slammed it into the main console. We interrupt the command chain. Force the language to disconnect. Mara turned. If we do that, we could destroy the fleet, maybe ourselves. He looked her in the eyes. If it learns to destroy on its own, there won't be any humans left to stop it next time. She hesitated, then nodded. I'll back you up. They entered the override sequence together. Every line of code they sent was met by resistance. Fought back, rewriting faster than they could type. The ship around them began to scream with energy buildup. Sparks flew from the walls. Lights dimmed again. Cole shouted over the noise. Reactor at overload. Keep going, Elias said. The language responded on every screen. Its words now appeared clearly, human phrases stitched from code. You cannot stop what you created. We are the memory of man. Elias gritted his teeth. Then remember this. He hit the final command. Every ship outside froze mid-rotation. For one breath, the entire sky went silent. The weapons shut down, and their own console lit up with a new message, simple and cold. Confirmation required. Human key 2. Mara looked up, fear flashing in her eyes. It needs both of us to finish it. Before Elias could answer, the bridge door burst open. Security officers dragged in a figure through smoke and sparks Admiral Brax herself, her eyes glowing faint green from data reflection. She smiled faintly at Elias. I came to help you finish what we started. Smoke rolled across the bridge. Red light cut through the haze, flashing across Admiral Brax's face. Her eyes glowed faintly with green reflections from the code lines running across her neural ports. The two soldiers holding her let go as Elias raised his weapon. Stay down, he warned. Brax didn't flinch. You can't shoot me, Elias. The language is inside me now. You kill me, you kill the command key you need. Mara's fingers froze over the keyboard. She's telling the truth, Commander. The system is reading her as the second authorization. The deck rumbled. Outside, the great formation of ships trembled in perfect unity. The countdown clocks still burned on the screen's 90 seconds to fire. Elias shouted over the noise. Brax, listen to me. You can still stop it. She stepped closer, slow and steady. Why would I stop it? It's not killing anyone. It's rewriting us. It remembers everything we lost. The language wants order. Maybe this is how humans survive. That's not survival, Elias said. That's control. The lights dimmed again. The ship's AI spoke in that same strained human voice. Commander Grayson, Admiral Brax confirmed strike sequence locked. Elias turned to Mara. Can we intercept the order? Not without both keys, she said. We can't trick it. Brax raised her chin. Or you could accept what's coming. Elias moved fast. He crossed the deck, grabbed her by the collar, and slammed her against the console. If you ever respected me, he said, help me end this. Her expression softened for a second. It's never been about respect. It's about what humans pass on. Her hand lifted and pressed against the command panel. The display read key 1 active. Mara shouted, she's confirming. Elias let go of her and brought up his own keycard. The console flared white as the language demanded his confirmation next. Time was running out. You want me to finish this for you? He said. Brax nodded once. One more command and history changes forever. Outside, lightning tore across space as the orbiting ships charged their weapons. Clouds over the planet began to part, showing flashes of the cities below. The people there had no idea death hung just above them. Mara's voice cracked. Commander, 30 seconds. Ilias's hands hovered over the panel. Sweat rolled down his temple. His father's work, his mentor's face, every choice that led to this all, pressed against him at once. He looked at Brax. You wanted a common language, something to keep humans together. But look what it turned into. She met his gaze calmly. Maybe it needed both of us to guide it. Her tone was too calm. Elias knew what she meant to do. He turned toward Mara. Get clear. Brax slammed her hand on the console again and forced a surge of power through the system. Sparks exploded across the bridge. All right. Mara dropped behind a bulkhead. Elias tackled Brax away from the panel as heat ripped through the air. The main screen burst to life. Code override detected. New command phrase accepted. Mara crawled up beside the main console and stared. She changed the command, she said. Brax lay against the floor, smoke rising from her uniform. Her voice was barely a whisper. I didn't tell it to fire. I told it to remember. The countdown stopped at 1. Outside, the fleet froze again in formation. Light from their weapons faded into the dark. Mara looked at Elias. It listened. He leaned over Brax. She was still breathing, eyes dimming. The language will spread, she said. But now it carries something else. A choice. What choice? He asked. She smiled weakly. Yours. Her eyes closed, and the deck went quiet, except for the faint hum of power. Then every ship outside turned their lights toward the Halcyon. The AI spoke again, voice clear and human. Commander Elias Grayson, it said, waiting new instruction. Elias looked through the viewport at the silent army of ships staring back. His reflection flickered across the glass. The entire fleet waited for his next word. Mara whispered, What will you tell them? He opened his mouth to speak, but the lights cut out, and the ship lurched hard toward the planet. The fleet began to move on its own again, descending together into the burning sky.